Hello all, welcome to Mysterious Knowledge Texts. What is being unearthed has more evidence of being true than most of what they say in the news. Please like and subscribe. Introduction and warning. Dedication. This book is dedicated to the 2 million Americans and counting who have been programmed with monarch-type trauma-based mind control. This book is written to destroy trauma-based mind control before it destroys the human race. It's time for this horrendous secret to end. It is also written as part of God's end-time work to propel people of faith to the high calling that is prophesied of the body, but cannot be attained without men of faith understanding these things. Humanity's great prophet said he came to heal those whose hearts had been broken, literally split and crushed, and to free those who are captive. That work needs to go forward. Blood, sweat, and tears are associated with this book. The blood of the innocent victims of this mind control cries out in a single unison, along with the pungent sweat of those who have tried to minister help to the shattered humanity left by the sadistic programmers, and the pools of tears shed as this book was written. How long, O Lord? Holy and true, do you not judge and avenge our blood on earth? Hope. Thou shalt know that I am Lord, for they shall not be ashamed that wait on me. Shall the prey be taken from the mighty, or the lawful captive delivered? But thus saith Yahweh, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered, for I will contend with him that contendeth with thee, and I will save thy children. Isaiah 49:23b-25. Warning, read this first before reading the book. If there is any chance you the reader have had mind control done to you, you must consider the following book to be dangerous. If you are consulting a therapist for DID, also known as MPD, it is recommended that you consult your therapist before reading this book. The complications that could result for those under mind control learning the truth could be fatal. The co-authors take no responsibility for those who read or misuse this information. The reader's mind is like a garden. It may not be time to plant the truth in your mind. Perhaps you need some weeding or ground preparation, before the garden of your mind is ready. Perhaps the weather is too stormy to plant the truth. Pray to the Lord of the harvest. The blessings that flow from planting the information of this book in your mind, will require the presence of living waters of love. If you do not have love in your heart, this book is not for you. The information contained in this book is the biggest news story of the 20th century, and still the biggest secret. It will challenge you, shock you, horrify you, and hopefully motivate you to redouble your efforts to humble yourself and seek strength from God Almighty. The programming procedures which are described in this book are based on research and consultation with deprogrammers, ex-programmers, therapists, counselors and pertinent literature. To the best of our knowledge, the statements made in this book are factual, although they may not reflect the latest or currently accepted methodology among each and every faction of the New World Order which carries out monarch-type programming. This book tends to devote more emphasis to Illuminati programming, which is the highest level of programming. For individual application in understanding a survivor of monarch programming, therapists are admonished to use this material with consideration for the monarch victim's personal case and situation. The authors disclaim any responsibility for therapeutic work based upon this material. Fritz Springmeier and Cisco Wheeler have co-authored They Know Not What They Do, an illustrated guidebook to monarch mind control. Both Fritz and Cisco bring years of experience in dealing with monarch programming to bear on the writing of this book. Fritz has researched the Illuminati, while he has worked with victims of its programming. He has authored the top 13 Illuminati families, and several other books. Introduction by Fritz. There are many dangers to the human race, some real and some imagined. I believe that the trauma-based mind control which this book exposes is the greatest danger to the human race. It gives evil men the power to carry out any evil deed totally undetected. By the time the astute reader finishes this book, they will be as familiar with how to carry out trauma-based mind control as some of the programmers. Ancient and more recent secrets will no longer be secrets. Over the years, I have spent thousands of hours studying the Illuminati, the intelligence agencies of the world, and the occult world in general. The centerpiece of these organizations is the trauma-based mind control that they carry out. Without the ability to carry out this sophisticated type of mind control using MPD, drugs, hypnosis, and electronics and other control methodologies, these organizations would fail to keep their dark evil deeds secret. When one of the mind control programmers of the Church of Scientology, who has left Scientology, was asked about MPD, he said, "It's the name of the game of mind control. Research into the subject will never be complete." This book has tried to give a comprehensive view of how the programming is done. The basic techniques were developed in German, Scottish, Italian, and English Illuminati families and have been done for centuries. Some report that some of the techniques go back to ancient Egypt and ancient Babylon, to the ancient mystery religions. The Nazis are known to have studied ancient Egyptian texts in their mind control research. The records and secrets of the generational Illuminati bloodlines are very well guarded secrets. Even when I've learned about the location of secret depositories of some of the Illuminati's secrets in Europe, America, and Asia, their records and secrets are too well guarded to be examined. The intelligence agencies, such as MI6, began investigating these mind control techniques early this century, but their records have been routinely destroyed and tampered with. There are some survivors and professionals who know that the British used programmed trauma-based MPD, DID, agents in WWI. In January 1987, Richard Kloof submitted an article to the American Journal of Clinical Hypnosis about 8 MPD patients who were between 60 and 72 years of age. Traugott Konstantin Oesterreich, 1880 to 1949, who was professor of philosophy at Tübingen University, Germany, studied MPD and demonic possession and wrote a classic study of it in 1921 entitled Possession Demoniacal and Other, which was translated into English in 1930. His classic work on this subject provides documented cases which reveal that the basic trauma-based mind control was going on in Germany, France and Belgium long before the 20th century. Although he is unable to put together all the pieces and the clues for what they are, the reader of this book might enjoy reading the 1930 English translation of his classic work after they finish this book. Oesterreich's research in early 1900s was the type of research that the Nazi mind control programmers were very aware of. In 1921, the Germans such as Oesterreich would describe personality switches. By the term somnambuliform hypnotic states possession or demoniacal somnambulism, or what might be called Besessenheit von Hypnotismus und Bossengeistern. The ability to study both the spiritual and psychological aspects of mind control phenomena is often lacking today. There are exceptions such as Dr. Lorda Fox's book The Spiritual Dimensions of MPD. In the 1920s, the Germans also were aware that the human mind has a variety of ego-psychophysiological states rather than one unified mind, which they termed subject-loose psychology, or the psychology of having correlated psychological states rather than the concept of a single ego. The Germans and Italians under the Nazi and fascist governments began to do serious scientific research into trauma-based mind control. Under the auspices of the Kaiser Wilhelm Medical Institute in Berlin, Joseph Mengele conducted mind control research on thousands of twins, and thousands of other hapless victims. Himmler supervised genetic research. The Nazi research records were confiscated by the Allies and are still classified. A trip can be made from downtown Washington, D.C. on a gray government van which serves as a shuttle to the Suitland Annex, where the government's secrets are buried, including research papers captured from the Nazi mind control research. Most of Mengele's concentration camp research is still classified. Much of it dealt with mind control. A researcher can visit the top floor, but underground below the top floor are the real secrets. The real secrets are lying in millions of sheets of classified documents hidden behind blast-proof doors. There they have vault after vault, and row after row of top-secret files that only a few privileged persons with security clearances above cosmic, such as with a C3 or MJ security clearance, can visit. Everyone with these high security clearances which I have identified is connected to the Illuminati. Each underground area at Suitland Annex has its own subset of secret access words, known only to the initiated. Most of the OSS records have been destroyed, a few have been left, the important ones have been misfiled or remade. This is according to a reliable British intelligence agent. Also according to reliable inside sources, the CIA is working night and day to remake old records, to expunge all the real dirty secrets from their records. The basement of CIA HQ is known as the pit. In the pit, documents are being shredded and burned on a round-the-clock basis. The large remains of these secrets are sold for landfill. The Illuminati have developed secrecy to a fine art. They train their people in the art of secrecy from the time they are born. Most everything they do is done orally. They are trained not to write rituals and other things down. There is very little paper trail left by the Illuminati. The creation of slaves with photographic memories facilitates the secrecy. But this book is not about how they have managed to keep their trauma-based monarch mind control a secret. They have managed only to keep it a secret to the general public. They have not been able to completely cover up the millions of wasted lives that their programming has ruined. For many years, they were able to shut up and quietly discard their programmed multiples by labeling them paranoid schizophrenics. But therapists are now correctly identifying these people as programmed multiples and are not only diagnosing them better but giving them better treatment. After Candy Jones's husband deprogrammed her enough that she could participate in writing a book exposing some of what had been done to her, the secret was out. See The Control of Candy Jones, Hypnotism and the CIA by Donald Bain. Ever since then, the intelligence agencies and the Illuminati have been carrying out damage control. Their biggest damage control campaign has enlisted the power of Hollywood and the controlled media. This campaign is known as the False Memory Syndrome campaign, or as those of us who know the facts like to call it the False Memory Spindrome. The headquarters of the False Memory Spindrome Foundation is located at 3401 Market Street, Suite 130, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania 19104. Some of the original founders were doctors of the University of Pennsylvania. The inside story about these early FMS doctors of the University of Pennsylvania is that they practiced satanic rituals during their work days. What is unusual about this is that generally satanic rituals are performed at night, but these doctors did their coven work during the day. I know about these men. Now you can see why these men started the FMS. They started it to cover their own sins, because many of them were abusers themselves. In other words, many of the EMS people are abusers of trauma-based mind-controlled slaves, or the victims of abuse who are in denial about their own abuse from trauma-based mind control. Martin T. Horn, the person credited with founding the FMS, had ties to the CIA. Two members of the EMS advisory board, Ralph Underwager, PhD, and theologian, along with Hollida Wakefield, MA, let the cat out of the bag when they publicly supported pedophilia, that is, adults having sex with children. Their support of pedophilia came in an interview with the Dutch magazine Pedika, the Journal of Pedophilia, Winter, 1993. Although the False Memory Syndrome Foundation gets upset at any mention that there might be a conspiracy by the perpetrators of mind control, because conspiracies supposedly don't and can't happen. They want us to believe that all therapists are conspiring together to implant false memories of abuse into their clients, which could not be further from the truth. Monarch slaves typically run into a great deal of denial by their therapists that anything like this could be happening. The bottom line is that multiple personality disorder, now referred to as dissociative identity disorder, is a recognized bona fide diagnosis. False memory syndrome is not a recognized medical or psychological diagnosis and does not appear in the American Psychiatric Association's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual 3R nor the recently released DSM-4. Those who followed Fritz's writings have learned about the close working relationship between the Mondavis and the Rothschilds. See his article about the Mondavi/Rothschild Napa Valley Winery. Guess who got the court proceedings which gives the EMS some legal ground to attack therapists? The proceedings was supposedly a wife who went to a doctor who told her she had syphilis. The wife assumes she got it from her husband and divorces him. Then she learns she doesn't have syphilis. The husband then sues the doctor. Upon this bizarre case rests the legal precedence for a third party to sue a person who gives advice, such as family members suing a therapist. Upon this weak precedence, an abusive father who worked for Monday in a winery in California successfully destroyed a legitimate therapist who was trying to save his daughter, who was a programmed monarch victim. Supposedly the therapist had implanted false memories of rape in his daughter, when the record shows that the daughter's mother told the therapist the girl had been raped by the father. When a valid case of SRA and repressed memories went to trial in Washington state involving a police officer whose family was MPD, Dr. Richard Offshee of the false memory syndrome showed up to cause mischief. And mischief he did work. The case involved the children of a Christian police officer named Ingram who had satanically ritually abused his family for years. The daughter won in court, but Offshee of the EMS was not above writing a book full of lies and distortions about the case. Lynn Crook, who was the abused daughter in the case, wrote up a paper exposing what EMS person Richard Offshee did to her. The controlled media is giving full license and great coverage to the EMS people. Rather than fighting the government for scraps of declassified documents which have had their secrets marked out, and which may even be fake documents manufactured by the CIA, I have decided that there is a much better approach to expose the monarch mind control to the world. If a person could never go to Nepal, he can see pictures of it and believe it exists. If a person cannot get into the top secret records of the CIA and Office of Naval Intelligence and MI6, they can be given the exact recipe for creating a monarch slave. I believe that by giving the step-by-step recipe, people will see that A. All the ingredients are available, B. It is possible to combine the ingredients, C. All it takes is the motive to do it, and that motive is self-evident. We'll even provide some of the names and places as we go along. This book will provide the step-by-step recipe for making a monarch mind-controlled slave. It is a trauma-based mind control which programs multiple personalities using every known technique of mind control. Every type of mind control technique has been combined into a group package which makes the total package almost impossible to break. It is this ability to synthesize all these methods into a group package which is so powerful. Edward Hunter, author of Brainwashing in Red China, testified in 1958 before a U.S. Congressional House Committee on Un-American Activities. Since man began, he has tried to influence other men or women to his way of thinking. There have always been these forms of pressure to change attitudes. We discovered in the past 30 years, a technique to influence, by clinical, hospital procedures, the thinking processes of human beings. Brainwashing is formed out of a set of different elements: hunger, fatigue, tenseness, threats, violence, and in more intense cases, drugs and hypnotism. No one of these elements alone can be regarded as brainwashing, any more than an apple can be called apple pie. Other ingredients have to be added, and a cooking process gone through. So it is with brainwashing. Hunter said brainwashing was a Red Chinese threat. He said that the Chinese were the ones using these tactics. In reality, this mind control was being done in the US, and Hunter was a pawn to help justify the criminal activities of the programmers should they ever be found out behind their cover of national security. The handlers of mind-controlled slaves carry around a black or gray 3-ring notebook or a laptop computer with the access codes and triggers. Some of the programmers and handlers have this all memorized. The deepest parts, core/gem/executive committee, false trinity, etc., are charted in esoteric language such as Enochian, Hebrew, which is considered magical, and Druid symbols.